Hello and possibly welcome to yet another series. I know, it's not like me, I don't usually do these kind of series gimmicks, but Avengers Endgame is on the horizon. It is currently the 4th of March 2019. I believe Endgame comes out at the end of April. Now thinking about it, it's crazy that we haven't really seen a full trailer for it yet, like a proper one. Though I kind of don't want to either at the same time. But due to certain obligations I have, I will have to see whatever trailers come out. Anyway, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was kicked off 11 years ago. Almost exactly 11 years ago, I think it was May 2008 when Iron Man was released. And a very brief preamble about my introduction to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Obviously I'd seen Marvel films before, like Spider-Man and the X-Men films, but this was the start of a Marvel Studios-centric effort to have like a bunch of films that all connected, that could all intertwine, and then you'd have these kind of crossover events like the Avengers movies that would bring all those characters from the same movies, played by the same actors, with the same storylines and journeys into one movie. And as can now be seen into many movies. Captain Marvel is coming out this week, and that'll be the 21st film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So in 10 years they managed to squeeze out 20 movies, which is pretty crazy. And for the most part I think they're all great. So you're not really going to be seeing any critical analysis in these videos. For the most part I love all of them. Maybe
third Iron Man, maybe.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. I'm just saying, for the most, there isn't a film where I go, oh, that one.
Actually, the second one too. Thinking about it.
I really remember. Right, we're not going to get into it, but for the record, I think Iron Man 3 I remember loving. The second one is probably my least favorite of the whole thing.
That's the one with the wrestler, right?
The wrestler, yeah.
What's his name?
He's not a wrestler, but he was the wrestler in The Wrestler. Mickey Rourke.
He was never a wrestler.
No.
I thought he was a wrestler.
No.
Oh.
Wow, you got worked by Mickey Rourke. You thought he was so good in that film.
No. I thought you told me like he used to be a wrestler back in the day, and then he was in the crowd at some kind of WWE thing, and then he was in the ring, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was at WrestleMania, but he.
Yeah, so I got all confused.
It's because of the movie.
I thought he was just, because most wrestlers aren't like. I don't know. Okay, fine. So he's not a wrestler.
Mickey Rourke is not a wrestler in the introduction to Iron Man 1. So
no,
after that tangent, we'll continue with I'll leave that in for FREE. So this Marvel Cinematic Universe was born with Iron Man, and obviously it's become hugely successful. We've seen DC try to copy it, and they rushed, they ran before they could walk, and rushed out Justice League, and it didn't work. So, now they're going back to the drawing board apparently. But Marvel did it right, and I do love the Marvel films. They're not things I think about all the time. It's not like a Star Wars level or a Lord of the Rings, but it is this huge franchise that to me is always really enjoyable to return to. So I'm looking forward to watching some of these that I haven't seen for a while, because there are definitely some I've only seen once. But for the most part I've seen them all a couple of times because my mum quite likes them, so usually every kind of 6 months when I'd go home from Norway, I would kind of watch the latest Marvel film with my mum. So we are going to watch, hopefully, all 21 before Endgame. Might not happen, might happen, who knows, we'll see what happens.
We're going to be very busy, so...
We are going to be very busy, so it's all up in the air, but we'll...
Have you told them?
Told who?
That we're moving.
No, but I don't know when. I don't know when I'll post this, so it doesn't really matter. Again, just let me stay on track, for fuck's sake. I'm trying to just do a quick intro, and she's just nagging with all this like useless information. Sorry. Okay, so.
That's me.
So Iron Man. We're gonna watch this, and oh yeah, I was gonna say, so I didn't get into these when they first came out. I didn't watch this when it came out, which is strange because I was going to the cinema a lot in 2008 and 2009. Somehow missed this completely, and then there was Incredible Hulk. There was Iron Man 2. I think the first one we watched in the cinema together was Captain America. That was the first one we saw.
Okay.
And then we caught up with Thor on Blu-ray, and then same with Iron Man and Iron Man 2. I think we only watched them just to catch up for the Avengers, because when that came out it was a huge deal, everyone was talking about it, and I was just like, what's the fuss all about? Remember they had the Comic-Con thing where like, oh, all the Avengers are there, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson. I'm just like, what's this again? What, is some comic book movie? Like, it was nothing to me. Like, even the characters, right? Iron Man, did you know who Iron Man was before the movie came out?
No.
No. Thor, obviously Thor, the mythology,
Yeah.
but I mean, as a comic book character, Captain America, even vaguely aware maybe, but you know, that's what I love about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It takes these characters that, to me personally, I was never aware of. You know, like even Batman outside of the comics. You know Batman, whether it's the '60s show or the comics. Like, it's just such an iconic character. So I kind of respect it more. Like, now they have Spider-Man. And of course they were playing with Hulk, who's a bit more of an iconic character as well. But
Yeah.
I
That's
do...
because of the TV series back in
The
day.
TV series, of course, yeah. But I do like that Iron Man was the one that kind of started it all. In almost the most unlikely of characters. But obviously he's now proven to be the most, you know, liked and loved and probably favourite character of most people. And we all have our favourites, but I think he's pretty damn popular, and Robert Downey Jr. fits the role like a glove. And with that, we're going to watch Iron Man. And yeah, I remember when I first watched it, I didn't love it. And then I watched it again a few years ago and thought, wow, this is a really great origin movie story. After you've seen everything else, it makes it even better. And I've forgotten really most of what Jeff Bridges is like in this film, so I'm looking forward to that. And with that, let's watch it and talk about it afterwards.
Tony Stark, visionary, genius, American patriot. Even from an early age, the son of legendary weapons developer Howard Stark quickly stole...
Okay, it is the next day. We didn't end up finishing Iron Man last night when we first started watching it. We got about 3/4 of the way through, and then Connie got tired, which is fine. I mean, we've seen these films before.
It's
not
about 11:30 or so.
Yeah. So today is another day, and we finished it and watched the conclusion of Iron Man. First film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What did you think, revisiting this one?
Well.
Interesting. Well,
it's a great movie. I just have so much memory of the beginning, and then the middle part is kind of blurry, and the last part was like, felt like I was watching that for the first time. I'm in the shot. So it was interesting to revisit it, because it does feel like almost 10 years since I saw it.
yeah.
I know it's not that long ago, but I feel like I've turned it on and then only seen the beginning and then stopped watching or something, because I remember the beginning so well, you know. So but it's a great movie. It's action is great, the story is, well, yeah, when it comes to the building of Iron Man, it's great. The villain is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff Bridges is great in you know, being Jeff Bridges. He's slowly moving the camera further that way, I think. I'll just... well, we could just be in the shot together, couldn't we?
Well, I was just moving so I could see where I was pointing the camera.
We can be together.
Okay, so if you want to just continue.
Yeah, the villain is just okay, I think. I think it would have been better if the villain would be the actual guy from the desert from the beginning, because it seems like it would be him. I guess it's a twist with, you know, it not being him, but I don't know. It's kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was saying last night I was looking forward to seeing Jeff Bridges in this because I don't remember him in the film very much. Now I know why.
Yeah, it's not memorable, really.
It
is
is,
it?
yeah, I don't know. It's just quite stock. Like
It's not bad.
it's not bad. He plays it well, you know. But at no point am I like, oh yes, another Jeff Bridges scene. You know, it just seems like it's going through the motions of like this is the villain. Oh, you know, I mean,
Why is he the villain?
you must have seen the film, you know. So spoilers, but you know he's a guy who was working with Tony Stark's father, and it kind of almost brought Tony Stark up, and then put out a hit on him to kill him for business reasons. And it really just boils down to a villain who's like, yes, I want more money and sell more weapons, and it's just like,
that doesn't really do enough.
no, it's
Because
just
I keep thinking like, why does he want him dead?
just for the money, I guess.
Yeah, but why is he then building this suit and then trying to kill him again? Like,
Tony,
what's he gonna do?
I'm not
without
doing
Tony?
this for the money. I'm doing this for a shitload of money.
Fine, but he couldn't get his people to build that tiny little thing to make the suit run. Yet he's trying to kill the only man who can build it.
Huh?
Tony Stark was the only one who could build that little thing to drive the suit.
Yeah, the arc reactor.
They couldn't do it. It was impossible. They needed Tony Stark. Tony
Right.
Stark is the only one who can do it. Then why the hell is he trying to kill him?
Right, at what point are you talking about it?
Tony Stark.
Are you talking about when he had him sent to the desert, that part, or when he tries to kill him at the end of the film?
At the end of the film.
At the end of the film, he's stolen Tony's arc reactor. He has it.
Yeah, and when that one runs out of power, then what?
The whole point is it never runs out of power. Like it's.
Wait, so he doesn't want any more than that one?
Well, I'm sure
Or
he.
if it breaks?
I'm sure having the actual technology in his hand, he would be able to replicate it.
Mm.
That part doesn't. That's fine to me.
It's
That's
just simple enough. The guys he was making work to do stuff couldn't do stuff that Tony Stark could. Tony Stark was the only one who could do stuff.
Look, if he lets Tony live, then Tony says to everyone, "Hey, this guy put a hit out on me." Then he's done. He's finished. End of story. Like I'm not like just trying to justify it, but
No, that's fair.
the only thing he could do was to kill him so he could continue his evil plan. Otherwise, there's just nothing else he could have done.
Fine.
See, it makes sense. But it's just, I don't know. I think this is a really good film. When I first watched it, I thought it was good. Not as good as I thought it would be. And coming off of like the Avengers, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure when I watched this because I'm sure it was around the time of the Avengers coming out, and we watched a bunch of them. But regardless, I remember the second time I saw this, I thought, wow, I'm really seeing the hype now because everyone talks about this being one of the best superhero films ever. Now I watch it again, I'm kind of going back again. I think it's really good. I enjoy it. There's no like bad scene. There's no like, oh, this isn't that good. But just overall, compared to everything else, it isn't as enjoyable because, you know, we have like 20 movies to kind of, and also there have been.
I did keep thinking, I can't wait for that one.
Right, yeah.
And I'm thinking about other Marvel movies that I'm thinking like, they're better, so I look forward to watching that.
Yeah, and there are some villains that are better than others. There are some that are a lot worse than this one.
Yeah, like Mickey Rourke is not as good as him.
No.
Jeff.
Again, Jeff Bridges is really solid. I really like the scene when
He's always solid.
When Pepper Potts is like downloading all of his evil stuff on the computer and he comes in. That's a really well played scene. In fact, that might be.
It's almost like a Landa scene.
A what?
Landa?
Oh, Hans Landa. I'm thinking of Lando then again. Yeah, almost. Yeah, Hans Landa for sure. Not quite as.
Well, because you don't know. Does he know or does he not?
Sure,
know?
not quite as riddled with tension, but still fairly. You know, really nicely done
Of
scene.
course not.
Robert Downey Jr. is great. It just feels like he was born to play this role.
I feel like he is Tony Stark.
Yeah, and apparently Hugh Jackman was approached for this. Imagine that. Like, I don't think... I don't know, maybe he could have pulled it off, but when
Sure he could, because then we wouldn't know who else could do it.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, now that because it's...
We're used to it being.
Yeah, and it's been... I don't know how many films Robert Downey Jr. has done. Well, just count it. Iron Man 1, 2, 3... He's kind of in The Incredible Hulk 4, The Avengers 5, Avengers Age of Ultron 6, Captain America Civil War, that's 7, Spider-Man Homecoming, that's 8, Avengers Infinity War, that's 9, the next Avengers, which will be 10, he might have appeared in another one, but at least 10 movies. That's a pretty extensive. I don't even think Hugh Jackman has that many as Wolverine. He played Wolverine over a longer period, but like as far
Are
as
there
like
that many X-Men movies as there are Avengers movies? No.
no,
So of course he wouldn't be able to.
yeah, no. But
Plus-
that's my point. There's so many of the Marvel movies that we get a lot more of him, and so
It
we're
takes
really
a lot more out of Hugh Jackman to play Wolverine than it does for him to play Tony Stark. The amount of workouts and dieting.
I'm not comparing the two in any way. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying. No, I mean I'm not comparing. See, all I was saying was that as far as a character, like it's like 10 years, and he's been in almost 10 movies, something like that. And there hasn't been a superhero character, I don't think, played by one actor who's been in as many films in as short a span of time. I'm not really comparing the two in any way, shape, or form in that sense.
I wouldn't mind to see more of Hugh Jackman, so it would have been fun if it was him.
Yeah, I guess that would have been. It would be interesting for him to play another Marvel character. Obviously, they haven't merged the X-Men with this universe yet, but apparently that might be on the horizon, in a few years' time. Anyway, so Iron Man, really, really good. I think Jon Favreau did a great job. Who would have thought the guy who wanted to be the ultimate fighting champion in Friends would turn out to be such a great film director? and I think he did this one. I think he did the second Iron Man. And he went on to do the Jungle Book movie with Disney. He's now doing the Lion King movie. So he's a really good director, and also he continues to play Happy in, I think, the Spider-Man movies now. I think he's in the next one as well. What else, really? I love the ending. I think the ending's really, it just so perfectly sums up Tony's character. And I love that we start out Iron Man with Tony being complete full-on dick mode. He is absolutely full of himself. He's
Jericho.
Like with the weapons manufacturing and everything, no guilt, nothing weighing on his conscience. And then he actually goes through an experience where he realizes what he does affect people, and he's kind of faced with that full on. And so he has a really nice arc throughout the movie arc, no pun intended, where he decides to actually make a proactive course of action, and to do the right thing, to shut down the weapons manufacturing of his company, his father's company. And so I think it's cool. But he always retains that dickish side of him. Like, it's not like he does a full, 180 and is suddenly like this really nice guy. No, he still has that wit, that kind of, that kind of edge to him that I don't think ever really. Wow, the PlayStation just. What the hell's.
PlayStation!
Stop. Oh, what?
You just said stop.
The PlayStation is literally taking commands from my voice. It's probably because the microphone is plugged in down on the floor.
PlayStation exit. PlayStation.
It's interesting that
exit.
because we're talking about a movie that's full of technology that kind of is a little bit futuristic, and that's kind of like voice activated technology just happening without even thinking about it. That's
PlayStation.
Right.
Search.
Just leave it.
I'm intrigued.
So, and I like that
I
part.
forgot that we had that. Sorry.
I like that element in the film where the technology comes in, where like all that 3D holographic stuff he has, where he's like moving elements around in like a digital space and things. And the moment when he escapes from the cave, actually, in the big Iron Man suit, and he falls out of the sky, it's just like, yeah, he would definitely be dead. Like, there is no way, like the way he's like landed in all the sand and the wreckage, like. So that's a little bit of a, I don't know, I feel like they. Not that I want realism in a film where we're actually in a universe even where a film series in which we have like the Incredible Hulk and Thor coming from like a different dimension, but regardless, it just kind of like he would definitely be dead from that. The Iron Man suit is so cool. It's just fun seeing it fly around and stuff. Yeah. And it's the beginning of a pretty huge.
It's fun to see how long it takes for him to put the suit on in the first movie.
Yeah.
And now all he does is like just a button, and then whoosh, he's like covered in it.
Yeah, because I think after the first Avengers movie, they insinuate that he used the alien technology to kind of make it where it just forms just magically, which is just ridiculous. But
it's like again, on him.
Yeah. At the flick, just at the touch of a switch or whatever. But yeah, it's
in a switch.
Yeah, and. Yeah, so like you said, so you see it like all the screws get like bolted in, and he has to get drilled into the suit every time. It's fun when he's kind of testing it out, and yeah, it's just really fun. It is a really fun film. I really enjoy it, but probably down my lower end of favorites in the Marvel films, purely because they just went on to get better and better, I think.
Yeah.
I really like the Tony Stark Pepper Potts relationship. It's quite believable to me. They don't overplay it. You know, you can tell they like each other, but there's like conflicting interest there of her being kind of his, you know, assistant, and him being a guy who's a womanizer as well. There's a scene in the film where he's on a private jet with Rhodes, and there's like just random women, I think like scantily clad in like, you know, pilot outfits, and a pole just comes up, and it's just like, yeah, that wouldn't fly these days. Like even that would be like offensive to people, I think. But it really just shows that kind of playboy lifestyle he had. Speaking of playboy,
he does call himself a playboy in Avengers, actually.
Oh yeah. Speaking of playboy, we have Stan Lee playing Hugh Hefner, which is quite funny, and one of the numerous Stan Lee cameos in all of these movies.
Which is now over.
Almost, yeah. I believe he has one in the Avengers Endgame. He filmed a few in advance, so we got one more left, I think. Or there might even be another one, I don't know. So, yeah, rest in peace, Stan Lee. Anything else we can add about Iron Man? No? Really good film. And that's about it. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say. Rhodes, of course. How could we not talk about Terrence?
Next time, baby.
Next time, baby. Like, it's so perfect. He never got that next time.
Never, baby.
And there's been some controversy around that. Apparently, he was very pissed off that he wasn't brought back for the second movie. I don't know the full story, but it is what it is. And Don Cheadle.
It's not like he was a bad character.
No.
He was funny. I think he suits the job of what he was doing in the movie really well. I didn't feel like he didn't fit in. So I wonder why he wasn't.
Yeah, which is interesting because there was a scene with him and you were like, you said something to me.
I like the other one better.
Right, you like the other one better.
That's because I've seen him more.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just one of those things, and it just is what it is. And we'll see that on a bigger scale with the next movie.
So you don't know why he's not?
I don't know. I haven't read into like the full details, but we'll see that on a bigger scale in the next movie with the Incredible Hulk, with a main character in the Avengers series being played by one actor, and then changed again for the next one. So we'll see you in that video. And Connie also just started drawing Robert Downey Jr. and it's a really fucking great portrait so far.
Thank you.
So
I'm actually gonna try.
Yeah.
To draw all of the Avengers characters. I was thinking, like, what about the Shield guy? I was like, oh, do I want to? No, I don't think I want to.
Well, you can't do every character. I mean, that would just be far too much. But
yeah, but he is the main character, not main, but he's like part of the.
Sure, he's just he's in
Shield.
Yeah, he's in quite
just
a few.
like Robin, you know.
Yeah, true.
So we'll see. Maybe they'll be like at the end of the book where, hopefully, I'll be drawing faster too.
Yeah. So maybe you'll see the finished version in one of these videos. So that's it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.